Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm Flora speaking out. And this week, I was suddenly thinking of my twin dogs that were given to me for my birthday about 83 years ago. No one could have loved the two dogs more than I did. I became sort of a cat person years later, but during my teens, it was my twin dogs. They were beautiful, half Labrador Retriever, half Spaniel, black and white with long silky hair, but entirely different personalities, just like twins usually have. Jason was full of energy, ready for the next adventure, bouncing around. Saddle, his brother, was calm, reflective, rather needy for love. He had a way of pushing open my bedroom door early in the morning, coming in my room and standing very quietly, not make a sound by the bed, staring at me fixedly. And have you ever tried to sleep when someone is standing by the bedside staring at you without a sound? You know that feeling. But they love going on walks. In fact, they really took me at the walks rather than I taking them. When I had them on my double leash, we would go flying through the streets. And I felt like someone in Ben-Hur's chariot race with very well-bred racehorses, prime horses. I never taught them tricks, nothing like roll over, sit up, beg, lie down. I think by the time I reached the teens, I was beginning to feel a strong dislike of teaching animal tricks to act in ways that are not natural to them. You know, like circus animals, elephants made to stand on their hind legs and dance, lions and tigers made to stand in weird poses with the trainer there with the whip, seals made to prance around with balls on their noses. This seemed to me to be a violation of the animal's nature, integral nature. Now, I'm not talking about service dogs. That's another matter altogether. The wonderful trained dogs for the blind, the deaf. And I've just recently learned something I didn't know, that there is a program for veterans called K9, the capital K and then the digit 9. K9s for warriors, for veterans who are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, sometimes to the panic point. And there are special dogs that are trained to help them. In fact, statistically, it says that 66% of veterans who are plagued with PTSD, 66% if they have the dogs to be with them, they're less likely to develop a clinical disorder. Very different from the wonderful service dogs are the attack dogs. When Shakespeare, in his great drama of murder, revenge, and war, that cried out, "Cry havoc, and let slip the dogs of war." Cry havoc, let slip the dogs of war. That was not just a figure of speech. The Celt armies, the Roman armies, right up to medieval times, always had attack dogs as a very important branch of their military service. These were huge hounds trained as killers that would leap at an enemy, knock him to the ground, and go for their throat. That is still with us in some ways. A number of years ago, I visited a country for a rather long time that has a tragic history of being constantly invaded. And the only dogs I saw in that country were not pits. They were on short chains attached to the house. Not just watchdogs, they were attack dogs. If you came to the house and got near them, they would growl menacingly. That nation, with its tragic history of being invaded, still has that fear and still have their attack dogs. And despots back in medieval, early, probably prehistoric times, had their attack dogs also as human beings. Their immediate entourage, those who surrounded him, were trained to obedience, trained to not only guard but to attack. And if the despot was disobeyed, challenged, criticized, he would cry havoc and unchain his attack dogs, human beings who are trained instantly to obey. And that is very much like our government right now. The despot, who calls himself president, who unfortunately is president, he says to his Attorney General, Bondi, now go after my opponents, my personal ones, not so many words, but this is the order. Indict them with the full powers of the law and do it now. He actually said, do it now. And the answer, yes, master. And she leaps forth, obedient. To Secretary of the Homeland Security, Noem, go after those Democrat cities. Go after any suspected illegal immigrant. Drag them out of home, school, business, court. Yes, master. Noem, you may have heard recently, spent millions of dollars on ads showing her boldly riding horseback there in the Wild West, obviously meaning to show herself as a great protector of our border, a real guard dog as well as an attack dog. Yes, master. To Hexeth, go and blow those little Venezuelan boats out of the water. Don't stop to see, let alone question, if they might be innocent fishermen. Yes, master. Besides the attack dogs, of course, all his train, his entourage, legislators, judges, all the tricks, heel, roll over, beg, jump. It's going on right now. Now, this is building up to a true story I heard about 40 years ago that changed my life in many ways. I heard it from the owner herself. Her beloved dog was lured away by kidnappers. Months later, it came home, terrified, traumatized, dirty, sores in its bodies, signs of abuse, terrified of water. Perhaps someone had tried to drown him. She ran a warm bath, first of all to get him clean of the fleas and the dirt, to wash the sores. He fought, screaming against her. His trust had been totally abused. And she realized what she had to do. And she got into the bathtub with him. and just held him for a while, warmly, with great compassion and understanding and love. And when he finally was able to calm down at least a little bit, then she very gently began to wash him quite thoroughly. The more I thought about this story when I heard it, the more deeply was I impressed, and it began to change me. I would say, first of all, my spiritual understanding that the supreme source and sustainer of this universe does not stand apart, but is right with us, holding us in the middle of our pain and fear, even in our loss of trust, right with us, down in the trenches with us. It made a difference, not overnight, of course. I'm a slow learner. In my relationships, I was always a kind of, not exactly remote, but a detached person. I wasn't outwardly selfish or ungenerous, but I didn't get involved emotionally with others. But this story has helped change me to learn that you don't stand apart in this life from other people, those you love, perhaps even those you don't love. You move into, you share the pain, you help lift the burden. You give not just of money, but of warm humanity as much as possible, opening the door to others. And this story is helping me now in the middle of my deep anger over what is happening in our government and our nation. What I'm seeing, and this is amazing, in the demonstrations, in the pushbacks, in the city halls, town halls, the forums, I'm seeing much more than just anger over grocery prices. I'm seeing a passionate caring, a deep involvement, a yearning for America to be what it was meant to be. I'm seeing not distancing or detachment or, well, that's politics for you, what can we do about it? I'm seeing the nation getting into the trenches. I'm seeing rebellion, yes, no acceptance of resignation to what's going on, or rising up, but at the same time an intense love for our nation. I see our nation almost like that dog, frightened, hurt, confused, infected, lost trust. And I see our nation sensing this, those who are rising up to protest. It goes very deep. And when this nightmare of an administration is over, and I hope I live to see it, there will be years of healing ahead. Our nation, I firmly believe, is undergoing post-traumatic stress disorder, and it will show itself in the years ahead. Our nation will need to build trust again. It will need to be cleansed. It needs healing, and we may need for a long time. I hope I can be part of this. I see no way soon out of that bathtub, but we have the love and the feeling of full human beings to support us in that bathtub, even with the blood and the fear and the hurt. Thank you for being with me and thinking along with me.